focusing on dialing in your form in this movement. So I want you to take your time. Let's start with our feet, hip distance apart. Parallel the outside edges, find your 3 points of contact. Stand as tall as you can in this position. Pull the base of the skull away from the sit bones. Bring your hands to measuring sticks. I want to inner anchor, heels pull towards opposite heel. And let's take one decompression breath in this position, setting our spine up for success before we hinge. Shift the weight to the heels and hinge back 1 inch and unlock the knees. Keep them active though. Bring your arms out off the line of the belly button. So we're not going to the chest yet. I just want it low right now. I want you to focus on pulling the shoulders away from the ears. Let's go 2 more inches back with the hips. And as you do that, the torso responds 2 more inches forward. And try to keep your hands still low right now. Not at the line of the chest quite yet. Really focusing in on form. Focusing on deep, slow decompression breaths on the inhale, an expanded rib cage. When we exhale, a narrow waist. Bring the arms up a little higher if you haven't already to the line of the chest. Take 1 breath in this position, focusing on keeping wide clavicles and wide shoulder blades. Arms come up off the line of the forehead. Feel the difference in tension in each arm position. Hips go back 2 more inches. Good, loading the posterior chain, the back side of the body, the glutes, the hamstrings, the paraspinal muscles that support the spine. Hips come forward, arms go to your side. Shake that off for a second. Bring your feet to shoulder distance. We're still going to do an inner anchor. Still outer edges parallel, still 3 points of contact. All the same principles are the same. Hands go to measuring sticks. I want 1 large decompression breath. Hips go back, arms go to long wing, and we're going to do 10 integrated hinges. Hips go back, arms go forward. Slow and controlled though, don't rush this movement. If you're going fast, sometimes you can be hiding bad form. But with slow, deliberate movement, we really want to focus on doing this so we can see how our form looks. We don't want to overdo it. Good. Every time the hips go back, the torso leans forward, the arms go out as a counterbalance, the back of the neck is staying nice and long. Still inner anchoring, heel towards heel, big toe towards opposite heel. And on the last one, hips go back, arms reach forward, fingertips and thumbs press together, strong sphere of tension, shoulders point away from the ears, down towards your pockets, and bring the hips forward, the arms back. Let's go wide now. 2 times shoulder distance. Just like the ones before, we're going to do 1 decompression to start. Let's do this one in long wing. So arms at your side, inner anchor. Let's take 1 breath and go right into it. Hips go back, arms go forward. Hold that position. I want you to feel the difference in each position that we're in with our feet, whether it's the narrow, the medium distance, or the wide. In this position, you're going to feel a lot more in the inner thigh, that adductor muscle. Bring the arms up off the line of the forehead, create a little bit more tension, but you're also going to create more strength when you do this in the low back.
Wow.
Good job, ladies. Hips go forward, arms go back, but keep your feet in this position. So we're just doing an inner anchor. Now we're going to do an outer anchor. So heels are going to push away from one another. Again, 1 more decompression breath. Arms in long wing, focusing on front, sides, and back on the inhalation. And when you exhale, nice narrow waist. Arms go forward, hips go back, outer anchor. Spread the floor away from you. Push your heels away from one another, but you're still maintaining your 3 points of contact. Ball joint of the big toe, pinky toe, and the heel. Arms are going to be off the line of your chest right now. Good, and then bring them a little bit lower. Maybe down off the line of the belly button. Feel that position. Again, feel the difference in tension that this creates. Hips go forward, arms go back to your side. Shake that tension off for a second, and bring your feet to shoulder distance apart. Still outer anchor, but now we're going to do an internally rotated founder. So the heels are going to be wider than the toes. Again, we're spreading the floor apart from one another. Arms in long wing. 1 breath. All right, hips go back, arms go forward. 10 integrated hinges. This one's going to feel a little bit different than the other ones. You're really focusing on spreading the floor away from yourself. You might feel like you're getting more space in the back side of the body with this internally rotated founder. Also with this outer anchor, you're going to feel that you're creating more tension along the outside of each leg, this IT band. Slow and controlled, focusing on where you're loading the tension into the hips. Let's do 2 more reps. Every time we scoop the arms forward, we keep a wide, broad chest. We bring them back, still space in the front, sides and back of the rib cage. All right, last one, hold that. Keep the heels spreading apart. Keep breathing big and tall. Keep the back of the neck nice and long. All right, bring the hips forward, torso back. We're gonna do our last founder, but we're gonna add some layers, some upper body involvement. So the feet are gonna be hip distance apart. You can choose to do inner or outer anchor. It's your choice at this point. Choose which one you ever feel stronger with. We're gonna start in a hip hugger position. So the pinky edge of each hand is gonna go to the mid-seam of the body at the height of the pockets. That usually gets you in the right position. Thumbs are turning away from one another. You'll notice that Allie's chest is nice and wide across the clavicles, but more importantly, she's got space between the shoulder blades. Let's go into a 1-inch hip hinge. Hips go back 1 inch, torso leans forward. Hold that position. We're gonna transition into serve the platter. So pinky edge is gonna pull up the mid-seam of the body until you arrive at the rib cage and come out in front of you. Pinky edge against pinky edge. If you can, bring the forearms together. If you can't, that's okay. Just work on spreading the palms away from one another.
Thank you, Lord.
Still breathing space and width. It's gonna be easy to breathe space in the back side of the rib cage in this one. What's more difficult is to keep space across the clavicles. Make sure you try to do that. Okay, now thumbs are gonna go to the height of the pockets. We're gonna finish off with 10 shoulder traces. Staying in this position. If you feel like this is too difficult for you, it's okay. You can bring your hips out of it, shake it off for a second, and go right back into it. But with the shoulder trace, you'll notice that the ladies are tracing using the elbows, keeping the elbows nice and wide, tracing the thumbs up the mid-seam of the body. When it arrives at the armpits, they trace up and over. They arrive overhead with sphere of tension off the line of the forehead, and then back down. Let's do 5 more, slow and controlled, leading with the elbows, pulling nice and wide. Again, if the founder's too hard, take a second, come out of it, and go back into it. Trace it back down, lead with the elbows. Last one, slow and deliberate, best one yet. Shoulders nice and wide, elbows pulling up and over the shoulders, sphere of tension behind the head and off the line of the forehead, and just as controlled, back down. Trace, up and over, elbows wide. Now bring the hips forward, stand tall, and I hope you feel well. Thank you very much.
Oh, so much sweat. Okay, before you get out of it, left foot forward.